Hello, hello, and welcome, or should I say ho, 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 Christmas cousins. I'm Cousin Chad.
And I'm Cousin Seth.
And for those of you who are new to the podcast or just want to hear what we're all about once again, I am Cousin Chad. I love the holidays. I love the seasons. I love everything about it. Well, pretty much everything about it. My dear Cousin Seth, my beloved Cousin Seth, if you will, was doing nothing. And I mean nothing. He was showing up in December like it might as well have been April. It was terrible. So I said, let's take a journey. Let's go through all of this. Let's have the fun. Let's go through the experience. And along the way, Cousin Seth, we've met some fabulous people and had some great guests. And tonight, maybe the greatest guest of all. We have tonight podcaster extraordinaire, multi-award-winning genetics podcaster, winner of the Best Science and Medicine Podcast 2020, 2021, 2022. I have questioned what happened in 2023, but I demand a recount.
Thank you.
We have right here, ladies and gentlemen, live studio audience, Kira Dineen, everybody.
Hello.
Hello,
That
Kira.
was such a warm welcome. Thank you, Chad. And nice to meet you, Cousin Seth. Can I refer to you as my cousins during this episode?
Absolutely.
Can I just be a cousin for the next half hour? Great.
Not only, Kira, once you're done with the show, tell her, Seth puts you in the will. By the end of the show, if it goes well, you become an official cousin. It all works out very well. So
wow, I get like a coveted dollar or something.
Exactly.
Footnote. Love it.
Well, I don't want to brag, but Cousin Seth is one of the world's wealthiest men. But that's a whole nother side story. You have to go back deep in the archives for that because he tries to keep it hidden. But he does have a staff that may pop their heads in during this, Kira.
Interesting.
And I hope you're not shy in front of our live studio audience, about 100, 200 people. They're here. Thank you, everybody, for joining.
Hello.
Oh, there they are. Already fan favorite, Kira. So, Kira, this is your first time on the Christmas Cousins. We were discussing right before we went on. Of course, you were fascinated, charmed by Cousin Seth and his story, like the whole world is globally, learning about his first holiday market. So, how'd your first full Christmas Cousins listening experience go? Well, I'm always curious.
It was great, and I really am excited that you've already started using some of the audience there and coming out with some sound bits, because I was like, well, if Cousin Seth gets it, I better get it in my episode. I'm very impressed by that.
Yes, and that's a live audience, Kira. Those aren't sound clips. Yeah,
wow,
it's live.
Everybody's
people.
Just live. I love it.
Yeah, we even have a live house band that plays bagpipes. Is all we can afford for the budget. But listen to this.
Now you're going back to my Irish roots. I love this. We're already pulling in multiple countries, multiple ancestries.
Yeah, isn't that cool? And we have one tambourinist that's a volunteer intern, but there
Is
he
he from
goes.
the Partridge family? Or?
Yes, exactly. He's very old.
He refuses to do his DNA and me 23andMe report, so we had to
Don't be
oust
your
him.
company, Seth. DNA and me. Your spinoff.
Oh,
Absolutely.
we should do a whole nother episode on your results, but Seth is very monogenetic.
You have to bring me back for that one.
Yeah, he's the most monogenetic person, if that's a term, that I've ever heard. So is that a term, Kira? Monogenetic?
Monogenetics, like one?
Yeah, like he literally has one thing in his genes, and that's
one thing. Yeah, I mean, you are remarkable. I'm going to have to do a case study on you, Seth. That's the
Okay.
That would be great.
Find lots of consistencies. He does one piece of rye bread a morning. He does these things that are very typical of these people that are monogenetic.
Yeah, Kira, every time we have a guest on who has a science background, they all want to study Cousin Seth. It's so interesting to me. Yeah.
So I'm just one of many. Put me on the waiting list. Yep.
Exactly. You'll be there. But we're very excited tonight because we want to talk to you about your own history, your own tradition, which are the Polish Christmas traditions, which we haven't done yet. We want to learn about those and teach Cousin Seth maybe some things he can do as he works on his own traditions. But also, as a geneticist, I have a very important question with you. So I'm going to get right into it, Kira.
Let's start with that one. Maybe I'll be able to answer that.
I hope so. And I'm really curious. And Seth, I think I mentioned this to you, and I'm worried because there's a saying, there are no stupid questions. However, I think this may break the mold because it may very well be a stupid question.
All right, let's see.
I did mention it in the email. So there are people in this world who have predilections or they're predisposed to love Christmas or the holidays, and something in it, about it, really they love. And I don't know if that's something that's nature or nurture or what. Is there possibly, are we going to discover it tonight? Is there, a drum roll please. Oh, very nice.
Thanks to live band.
Yes. They have a drum, I didn't even know. Is there a Christmas gene, if you will?
Christmas gene.
Some kind of gene that makes people like or be
predisposed to
inclined,
really love
yes.
Christmas in the holiday season.
Yes. Or is it all nature, or nurture rather versus nature?
Yeah. I wonder. I have not come across one yet, but we know that there are about 20,000 genes in the human race. However,
we didn't know that actually before you said that. I guess
we as scientists, I'm speaking on behalf of all scientists in the world, obviously. So we have identified genes, but we don't always know exactly what they do in the human body. So is it possible that there is a gene that could predispose someone to love Christmas, or maybe even we could use the H word, hate Christmas?
Yes, right.
I mean, I can't say no, because we don't have enough evidence to support that, right? So I think jury's still out. But if I had to say what I would guess, I would say more nurture. If you grew up with really happy Christmases and you just, that was a really good time for you, and you have a lot of amazing family traditions that I think we'll talk about today on my Polish side. And I think that would make you kind of into an adult that likes Christmas. If you grew up not having great Christmases, I could see that having an effect long-term, just, or maybe you're trying to redeem it and you're trying to turn it around.
I think we've seen that too. Yeah. Coming up. So there's no gene that's like shaped like a snowflake if you look under a microscope, if that's even
if it did have a shape, it would be of a Christmas tree. I have to send you this, and you can share it with your listeners later. I have a picture of chromosomes. So that's when we look at the microscope. One of the ways we can look at our genetics is when they are formed into chromosomes.
Okay.
And so there's this picture, and I wish I could credit the person, but I just came across it sometime. And the chromosomes are arranged in a Christmas tree. So I will send that to you, because that's where our worlds collide right there.
That's really funny. Maybe that's Santa's genetic makeup. That could
be. Right? Maybe if you look at Santa's chromosomes under the microscope, it just is always in the shape of a Christmas tree. Who knows?
Right. So Kira, are there genes that are known where somebody is interested in anything, that where you can predict, this person will be into nature or into any kind of sport or anything, or there just haven't been studies? Am I breaking the mold? Am I blowing the door open on science? Wow.
Because I've been talking about genetics for like over 12 years on air. So if I get a new question, that's pretty amazing.
We did
not that I can think of. I don't think this really counts. So for context, I'm gay, which I think is helpful to know for this, that there are some studies that say, these gene variants and differences could lead someone to have different sexual preferences. So there's a lot of controversy out there if we should even be studying that. But I have seen there's a study a few years ago that came out kind of about that. So I don't know if that's really that might be a little outside of what you were asking. But
if there's a gene,
liking, that's what I think about.
Right, or a gene that would determine these kinds of things, but nothing you've seen like a gene that would determine, like some people, I don't know, this is silly, but, and I'm genuinely curious, like would there be genes where we could say, okay, this person even is something as silly as sweet versus salty or anything like that?
That I think so. Yeah, really? there's even genes where, or variants within genes where some people can taste some things that others can't. A good example of this is what cilantro tastes to you. Cilantro to me tastes like the earth. And I'm like, I don't really want the earth in my taco. Right. So I prefer to just not have cilantro on there. And other people are like, it's great. And there actually is a genetic difference between. So you and I, Chad, have a difference there in our genetics, just in terms of if cilantro tastes good or bad. So that would have been a better answer. There you go.
Yeah, I have known several people who hate cilantro.
Yeah,
I'm just
it's
like
earthy, soapy.
Yeah, you like it, Seth?
I'm kind of indifferent. Like I want, if it's on there, I'm like, okay, it's there. But yeah, I didn't realize it has such a harsh taste, like you're describing. That's very I don't know.
I'll eat it when it's on there, but it's a disappointment. It takes away from my experience of, usually it's some kind of Spanish or Mexican food, and I'm like, it's taking away from it.
Wow. So in the future, we could adjust genes so people like, say, Chipotle better. We can do this in utero.
Chipotle should get on that. I think that'd be a good PR move for them. Right. And then just to have people already be born liking Chipotle. I think that's, there's something there.
A Chipotle incubator by where the guacamole is.
Yes.
Something like that.
And if you're born through that method, you get free guac for life. You don't have to pay $1 for the guac.
Good savings. It's good savings. Yeah,
I think that you end up saving in the long run. That
right,
your
exactly.
ROI is good in terms of your life investment on guac.
Yeah. Cover up college, I think. Well, what is interesting here, like right now, in this nice Christmas cup, vintage Christmas mug I'm drinking out of, I have some eggnog. Now, Cousin Seth and I are first cousins. Now, I don't need to explain to you how that broke down, but our moms were sisters, so that's how it works. Kira, to explain genealogy. Just showing off, Seth, because, I know stuff too.
Oh, look at that. First cousins, not even one removed. You're just straight up first cousins. I'm drawing your family history in my mind right now.
Exactly. So, and you could see, obviously, we both have the very handsome gene. I mean, that's clear. Obviously. We know.
Yeah, many genes play a role in that, yes.
Oh, shoot, Seth, we lucked out. So Kira, for real, so like I love eggnog. I'll drink it all season long. When Cousin Seth has it, and he has it live on air and retches, and it is the funniest thing I've ever seen. Our ratings go through the roof. So that clearly is a difference in what got shaken up, maybe from his dad's side, or I don't know if that's
or he had a bad experience with eggnog that went putrid or whatever the term is, as a kid, and just never could get through that, and maybe doesn't even remember.
Awesome. Were you eggnog boarded, Seth, for like a punishment?
I don't. It's possible. I mean, growing up down south,
you accidentally drank the alcohol eggnog. You're like, what is this?
I do remember we had a neighbor that she made like this lemon meringue thing, and I ended up forced to eat. Yes, exactly. We're going to start peeling back the layers.
Tell me about your childhood. Yeah.
You're like, that's not really what I do per se, but
I could be another type of counselor for this. I'm a genetic counselor some days a month. I could be a social worker for a minute. My mom's a social worker. I could just channel that.
Oh, you may have to call her by the end of this. Yeah.
Yeah. We might have to ring her in, call a friend, call a mom.
Yeah, exactly. Unpack what just happened.
Oh yeah.
They're so close yet so far away, the two of them.
So Seth, what are you saying? Your neighbor, what happened?
Oh no, the mom had made this lemon meringue pie, and it was like with all the stuff that goes on, I guess, the cream around the edge, and I just remember being as a force to try it, which seems a little intense, but I remember it being a very intense situation.
Okay, so that would be a nurture thing then, not nature. Okay. Because we do, even Kira, we have one of our fans, a super fan, Christmas Cousin Lee, just sent us, did you get it yet, Seth? A gift in the mail to try on air, I'll tell you. It's an eggnog flavored overnight oats. And Cousin Seth hates overnight oats and he hates eggnog, so he sent it to us.
Oh my gosh, I love overnight oats, so we'll balance it out in case they ever want to be a sponsor for you guys. I'm a huge fan. It's just so easy. And it fills me up 20 grams of protein. I could go on about overnight oats. Yeah.
And there's an eggnog flavor. So if you like eggnog.
Yes, there is. I've been waiting for December to actually use that packet from them.
Oh, really? Oh, you should join us on air for a tasting.
I really should, because I have it in my pantry downstairs. It's just, now that it's December, I'm like, all right, at any point now I could make it. Yeah.
Oh, so let's see if we can work it out maybe for next week, because you've got to see Cousin Seth try overnight oats. And Kira, you will never laugh harder.
Is it going to be more than you in the car retching from in your earlier episode of this?
Oh, with the rescue dogs?
Yes. Yeah. Oh. That level, kind of?
Yeah. It was just as bad. It was just, but I didn't have to, I didn't have to sit in it for an hour and a half, but in the experience,
you were trapped. So,
Speaking of Seth, I can't believe you retched and didn't record it. You had your phone on you. I'm very, that's a bummer. You let me
everything related to the holidays, that's content for the show. You've always got to be ready with the voice memo to have a little moment.
True.
Kira knows.
Cousin Chad can play it on the show. Yeah.
Exactly. How long have you been podcasting for, Kira?
Since 2011, so 13-ish years, something like that. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
A couple of years before Serial. So that's kind of it. In podcasting, I feel like it's before Serial or after Serial. It's kind of, that's our BC.
Wow. And so you've been able to do this, besides you're also a speaker. So you've been podcasting and a speaker full time since, I guess, you graduated college.
Yeah, so I worked after graduating college. I went and got my master's in New York, and then went on to work full-time on top of all that, full-time as a genetic counselor at a prenatal private practice. So working with pregnant patients, talking about their genetic testing, kind of ordering that, going through that with them. And then about a year ago, I made the switch to only work a few days a month with them. And then, the rest of my time is podcasting and speaking and other kinds of producing podcasts. So,
Amazing. That is really great. So, okay. So when I just have a question. So, you know what, Seth, let's read out the latest number. You tally these by hand to verify them. Let's go with the breaking news, the latest number of our listeners, because I want to hear what Kira thinks, if that's a good number or not. We kind of exist in a vacuum. Cousin Seth, are you ready? Breaking news. What is our latest average daily listener count? I want to get Kira's reaction. She might say it's terrible. She might say it's good. Where are we at, Cousin Seth?
On a daily listener count, we actually, from our last show, just topped the 40 million mark. 40 million. I know. Wow. Unbelievable. Kira is shell-shocked.
I've never heard a listener number so big. That is multitudes more than Armchair Expert, Call Her Daddy, Joe Rogan podcast. I mean, all of that combined, I think. Yeah.
We haven't heard of any. They don't have Cousin Seth, Kira. Yeah. They don't have.
That's the key. You're great. You're great, Cousin Chad, but,
I know.
There has to be a star, unfortunately. So.
Right.
It's been like that in our family since he was born back in the 70s, Kira. So that's okay. I understand how it goes. So that is a good number, Seth. We had no idea because it fluctuates.
It's not just good. It is outstanding. It is astonishing. Mind-blowing.
Okay. I thought it was decent.
Insert all the adjectives here. Like whatever you type in astounding and thesaurus, just read all those other ones too.
Okay.
All the tally marks in the room that I have dedicated to this seem to be a lot. So I was like,
it's your wallpaper now. How many tally marks?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. And it is verifiable. Seth hand counted. So if anybody questions it, we can show you Seth's fingers and toes.
Right.
So
right.
It goes in multiples of 20. But we are not just here to talk about you, Cousin Seth. He always makes it about him, Kira, and his fingers and toes. Yeah. There's a whole website dedicated to his feet. That's why he's always talking about his toes. It's a side gig, but that's a whole other story. So
put that link in the show notes. That's your OnlyFans, right?
That's right. Exactly.
We're not ready for that kind of jump in the listenership.
That's it. But we're here talking about something much more wholesome, Seth, than your appendages, which is Christmas traditions that we haven't discussed yet on the show. So, Kira, you're what a segue, by the way. I have to.
Honestly, that was really. I wasn't sure how you were going to do it, Cousin Chad. That was so
yeah, that's right. So, Kira, you are of a Polish heritage, and on one side, both sides. Let's break it down genetically.
Sure, break it down genetically. Now you're talking my language. So this is my paternal grandmother's side. So that's Dad's mom. So my grandmother on that side. And so she comes from a Polish background. She even spoke Polish like growing up and then kind of lost it over the years and then has been relearning it in her 80s.
Oh, really?
Which is very cool. Yeah. She's a lifelong learner as I want to be.
How old is she now?
Oh, I got to do math. Mid 80s.
Okay. Mid-80s.
Yeah.
And she's
hopefully that's okay, Grandma. I'm saying it, but it's impressive how much you're always learning. So
I know. We should have her on and we'll just do it fully in Polish, the whole episode.
Oh, wow. All right. Give her a year or two to really do the Duolingo more.
Do you think she would try eggnog overnight oats with us?
She might. If I tell her she has to, I think she might. Yeah.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Now, my cousin Brian would, because I had him start drinking them. I drink mine. Some people eat them, but I do the shake version. And he's been a fan. So, between me and, her other grandkid, my cousin. Yes.
Cousin Kira, cousin Brian, the Christmas cousins. This sounds like an eggnog taste test made in cousin heaven.
Be careful. You're going to have more Dineens on your show than your family. So I don't know. You don't want to throw the ratio on.
Right. We limit what family we have on our show. Don't worry. So, yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Strict vetting. When I first auditioned co-host, Seth went against all the cousins and he shined. So.
Wow. Sorry to the other cousins.
Yeah. We did. It was called America's Got Cousins. It was just within our family, but it was a fun show. Yeah. It was cool. So, Kira, tell me, but your other side of the family is not Polish, but you do more the Polish traditions or you do various
do for Christmas. So the Polish, and I did do a little bit of research to make sure I get some of this right, because there might be how my family does it versus like the authentic Polish way, because we're, we're obviously Americans. And then I would say, a couple days a year, I'm Polish in terms of culture and what we're doing. And hopefully I get pronunciations right, because like growing up, you just do it. You wouldn't know, what is this called that we're doing? Right. But if I'm getting it right, Christmas Eve is called Wigilia in Poland, and it's much more important than Christmas Day. So Christmas Eve is very important. So on Christmas Eve, I have, for every Christmas Eve of my life, maybe there was one I was sick as a kid or something, but for probably 30 Christmases now. I've gone over to my grandmother's house, and so we've celebrated Vigalia.
And is it Vigalia, like VIG, or is
so
it
it's spelled with a W, which I literally learned a few days ago because there was a group chat being like, hey guys, remember we're doing Yankee Swap, White Elephant, whatever this year. We used to, all the cousins would do Secret Santa, and then we got to a point where we're like, all right, we should include the adults now. And so I was like, what is this word? And I was like, oh, it's spelled with a W, but you pronounce it like a V in English.
Okay, gotcha, right.
So, and it comes from the Latin word to watch. So you're like watching out and waiting for Christ to be born because it's Christmas Eve.
Okay.
And it's, from what I understood from my little bit of research, it's the most celebrated of all Polish holidays. Like it's like kind of the fan favorite.
So they consider a separate holiday Vigalia. So it's Christmas Eve, but it's its own thing, in other words.
Yeah, it's like its own, the way that at least like the Catholic side Polish celebrates. Right. And the big part of it is, which this I might get pronounced wrong because it seems hard to pronounce, but oplake?
No, that sounds right to us.
Does that sound right? Okay.
That sounds right, yeah.
Yeah, it's very natural sound. Oplake.
If any of my family listens to this, they're going to be like, oh my gosh.
What is she doing?
That's like really representing Polish people horribly. Yes. Then you'll bring on a fact check. Oplake. Something like that. Okay. Don't make me say it again, Chad. Come on.
I know. Well, we have Grandma on. We're gonna. Yeah, you're right. We're gonna correct it all when Grandma comes on.
Exactly. Fact check with Grandma Barbara. So what this is, it's a thin rectangular wafer. Okay. And before the meal, which we'll get into the meal, but before the meal, you go around and you reconcile your differences with family members. Oh. That's the official way to do it. We do a much more wholesome way, and we just kind of wish our family members well wishes in the new year and the holiday, and also just like compliment them on who they are as a person and how we're proud of them. That's how my family does it. But in the Polish tradition, it's kind of like, we had this issue, let's reconcile before the new year so we can start anew, and everybody's kumbaya. Right. So there are, in my family, there's 16 of us. So there's 8 adults, 8 kids, quote unquote, but everybody's over 18 at this point. Right. And so you go around to each person, you have a one-on-one conversation. So like, let's say to my mother, I'm like, thank you so much for just raising me and my brother. And I just love like something we did this year. And I so appreciate everything that you've taught me, and blah, 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 right? All these nice things. Yeah. And it is my favorite tradition that my family does every year because, again, it's just so wholesome. And like, it's just a moment, right? It's like a couple minutes. Sometimes I'm a talker, so I'm always like looking around. I'm like, I'm the last one going. People are waiting for me. Right. It's supposed to be relatively quick.
I'm love the talker. This is, like, but it's so cute. Tradition.
I feel like everybody should do some version of this. And when you do it, so you have your own wafer. And then, so if I was doing it, say to cousin Seth, I would reach over and take out a little piece of your wafer, like crack it off and eat it of your wafer when I'm telling you these positive things. And then you would crack off a piece of mine and eat it and tell me positive things. It's just, growing up, I was just like, oh, this is just a Dineen thing of just my family, which the Dineen name is Irish. So that's confusing. Because my grandfather's Irish, but we're talking about my grandmother's culture here. But then as I grew older, I was like, oh, this is part of being Polish. I didn't realize that was the Polish part and where it was coming from. Right. But I think it's just so cute. And I will certainly continue it once I have a family and everything. And I just love it. I think it's just the best way to connect with a family member and go into the new year together.
Funny. It's funny it originated from an airing of grievances. You kind of could go around. It was just like,
my grandma was probably like, we're not doing that part. Let's keep it all good.
It becomes a very passive aggressive thing. It's like, oh, thank you so much for all the baseball games you took me to. It's like, wait, we never went to it. Exactly.
Right, exactly.
In terms of that, sliding someone a note.
Rehashing things, not good. But what you did is almost like Thanksgiving. We go around the table and say what we're thankful for, but you do it to each individual.
Yeah.
I like that.
So I have to do it 15 times.
Oh my gosh. Has there ever been anybody where you're like, Gee, you really cracked off that wafer well. Like you had nothing to tell them.
Or it's like the tiniest piece they crack off because they know they have to eat multiple. Or some people just crack off half of it. So it's very funny. Just certain family members that will do certain things there. But it's more of sometimes you're like, you want to make it very personal and you're like, oh my gosh, what did this person have going on in their life? Because I do come from a big family. I'm like, where are we at in this person's life? And, you know, you want to say something personal. And sometimes I'm like, oh, this will help me. Because now I'm thinking about it ahead of time. I've got weeks to practice.
So you do need to think for each person something, which makes you more involved with them too.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I tend to say similar things like my grandparents every year because it's like, you know, I often am like, you know, to each of them and phrase it differently. But it's like, your relationship is such a role model of like, I just love, you've been married for, I mean, they're in their 80s. They probably got married in their 20s. So 60 years, I'm imagining at this point. I'll have to fact check that. But just like, I just love how they relate to each other. And, you know, I'm just like, you're couple goals. But then I have to say it in their own language and not in a millennial way. So.
Right. So they get it. Yeah.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So they've been together. Weren't born in America or were they born in Poland?
They both were born in America.
Oh, because he's Irish and Polish. So,
right. So my grandfather's, let's hope I get this right. My grandfather's parents were born in Ireland, and I think my grandmother's grandparents were born in Poland. So they're different generations. Like, I guess they're second and third generation Americans.
Right.
Something
Well,
like that.
Yeah, you're getting most of it right. Well, let's see.
Let's hope.
Is that Grandma Barb calling on her vintage photo? Is that Grandma Barb? You know, we can't answer right now, but you better talk to her off air.
Okay? She's calling in because I'm getting things wrong. She's like, Kira, come on. I gave you the family history and the family tree that's 80 pages long. What do you mean you didn't read the whole thing?
That's right. Oh no, now she's texting. Grandma Barb is quick on the text. Yeah.
You know, she really is. The iMessages there, she's so quick with it.
Wow, she's that's great at her age. I mean, she wouldn't do anything like show up at your house. Oh, jeez. Oh no.
I went through 2 world wars and many more conflicts.
Should I get that? I don't know.
I would ignore. Oh no.
Will she go away? I don't know.
I don't know. Just ignore.
Is my Kira in there?
All right, I think she left. Okay, good. Whew, that got close. Boy, she is spry. You're right. She's learning languages.
She really is. She's learning Spanish too. Like I'm like, oh man.
Wow, how'd she get our number to call the vintage hotline, Kira?
She's resourceful. I'll tell you that. She's a good networker. She's always chatting with people. You wonder where I get it from.
Yeah, right. She would have had a podcast back in the day.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Huh. Seth, do you think part of this tradition, Kira should ask everyone individually to rate, review, and subscribe to the Christmas Cousins podcast? It brings good luck all year, I do have to say.
Oh, yeah, if we could find some crackers and just go to everyone individually. And
that would be 16 right there. So, that's great.
Huge. Out of our, 8.1.
40 billion?
Yeah.
Was that at 40 billion, I think?
Was it billion or million, Seth?
We're at million, but the projections are billion. We're supposed to have a huge jump over the next week or so. So yeah,
this episode. I know, guys. Yes.
Yeah, it's the Kira effect they call it because the scientific community hasn't embraced us fully yet, but I think now they will.
You're on the way. Well, as soon as you guys learn how to make pierogies, then you'll be set. Then everybody of Polish ancestry will be like, we're gonna buy, the Christmas cousin pierogies, and it's gonna have your logo stamped into it as well. I think, right?
Like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like peppermint flavored peppermint pierogies. That would be delightful. Okay.
Yeah.
We could get our logo on the little for Poxy Day, the little Poxy donuts. I think I'm pronouncing that right.
Look at this guy.
Well, I do live in the second next to the second largest Jewish Polish population outside of Warsaw. So
that's a nice stat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, isn't there that day, Seth, by you, where they have that general or something? There's a Polish general they celebrate.
Casimir, schools have off for Casimir Pulaski Day, which he was a Polish general. I still to this day have no idea what the attachment is to Illinois. So it's other than the large population. Right.
He marched there with an army into Illinois.
I want to find that place.
Yeah, this is where my people will settle. Great.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, should have kept going south. It's cold here, but that was
it's cold in Poland. So they're like, yeah, this feels like home.
Yeah, right, exactly. So Kira, so you guys do this. So I'm curious. So you're doing the ceremony. I don't even want to try to butcher it. I'll say the wafer ceremony. Is this before like dinner? Like when does this actually take place?
Before dinner. Yes. I don't remember exactly why it's important to have it before the meal. But it is for some reason. And then the meal is like I was talking about pierogies. So it's basically like Polish dumplings. So most of the time there's like some kind of cheesy potato in the inside.
They're good. Have you?
And they're so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we actually make them by hand. So,
really?
Just this past Friday, a bunch of the cousins, we all get together and there's kind of an assembly line. So my job was rolling out dough. I was one of the dough rollers, which that's an inside joke for Dineen's. So I was a dough roller, and then I would create the little circles. I would just take a cup and then, use that as my my outline there. And then I'd pass it on to the next cousin that would then take the circle, put the potato filling in, and then close it off. And then another cousin takes it and puts it in the pot of boiling water. And then another cousin looks at, there's a lot of cousins, looks at which ones are floating, and that's ready. And then we throw them in the freezer until Christmas Eve. And that's when we fry them up with some onions usually. And then they're served. But we're very efficient people. We're planners, so we had to get that done before all the holiday rush. So usually the day after Thanksgiving or somewhere around there, we end up doing that. So it's all part of in December. I'm very Polish.
Yeah, I love that. That's like first of all, it sounds like a Henry Ford assembly line. It's very efficient.
It's like Italians with their pasta.
Yeah,
maybe. We aspire to get to that level, I think. Yeah.
Well, that's it. I was just going to say my wife's side, her family's all Sicilian, and they make rice balls in very much the same way. There'll be like 8 people over. There'll be 90 rice balls. They're the size of a softball, and each person, they all help and they roll it and everything. So it sounds very similar.
We made a few dozen. I'll have to ask my aunt. She was in charge. She was a top chef.
Oh, wow.
Is it sous chef is the secondary? Who's the top chef? What's the name of that?
Executive chef, maybe?
Head chef.
Is it head chef? I think Cousin Chef has it. Yeah, I think it's head chef. I watched the what is it called? The Bear, and so everybody's chef, right? So, behind chef. Yeah, thank you, chef.
That it takes place in Chicago too, Seth.
Exactly.
Right? It does.
I'm tailoring my audience here.
Yeah, really. Kira, where are you located? What part of the country?
I'm right outside of New York, so I'm like Connecticut, New York line. So.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah. Okay, is that where you're from originally? Northeast?
Yep. Born and raised. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm originally from Jersey, so tri-state area. I was not far.
Going to Manhattan for Rockefeller Center, the big tree, ice skating.
Oh, I didn't do any of. No, I lived at the shore, and I hated leaving the beach. I never liked big cities. I did live in Manhattan for a little while for school and things, but I did not like it. And I was under protest only.
You were like, had to live in the city. It wasn't got to live in New York City.
Exactly. Yep. And I got out as soon as I could. Yeah.
Did you ever do any of that stuff when you lived in the city? Like go to the tree lighting at Rockefeller Center or any of that stuff? No. Okay.
No.
You got to at least go once. I lived in Manhattan for a really long time, 6 months. And COVID kind of kicked me out. And I was like, all right, living by myself in an apartment during COVID, not so much.
Not so much, right?
Yeah, but it was, it was a fun 6 months. But
there's always something going on there. No, it wasn't. It just wasn't free. I don't know. Maybe I did some stuff. I don't remember. I just remember being like, I'm so over this city. Like as soon as I was there, but you have to do it. I guess it's a rite of passage.
I still do. It's an hour down to the city for me. So still do it on a routine basis.
It's like if you're Dineen, you have to at one point be the person who puts the pierogies in the boiling pot of water. It's like a rite of passage.
Pretty much. You always have a different role, always new experience. A little twist on what you normally do. Yes.
Yeah, I like that. So then you go, and we're running over. I don't want to keep you too long, but so we did this tradition, which I absolutely love. I really think everybody should do this tradition. Every family, think of after that, it must clear the air. It must be so nice and congenial, right? The atmosphere.
Oh, it's lovey-dovey. Nice. Yeah, everybody's feeling it. Yeah.
Wow. Seth, we should do a whole episode where we just break off wafers virtually, and then we just compliment each other. Yeah.
Put resentments. Oh, no, we're doing the nice one.
Whatever.
I thought we were doing this authentic. Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
You're a little demanding sometimes. Those 2 a.m. texts are really intrusive into my personal life.
Kira, I do text him sometimes at like 3 a.m. with show ideas. That is true. And he's on Central Time and I'm on Eastern Time. So that's brutal for him.
Right. Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Sometimes he puts on Do Not Disturb, so I have to text other family members to go rouse him up and get him.
Or if he has that setting, if you call twice within, 3 minutes or something, it overrides it. At least I shouldn't publicly say whether I have that or not. People just start taking advantage of that.
Right. Kira will pick up. She'll pick up. Don't worry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just ring her twice. It'll wake her up. All good.
Yeah. Well, we already saw you didn't answer your grandma. She came to the door right away. So that's that's how they go.
Even that doesn't work with me apparently. So
right. Oh no. You know what?
Because again, she must be listening live. Otherwise,
she's listening. Yeah. She's listening live. I don't know how she's doing it. So you go to the dinner. Now the dinner is there, and again, I don't want to keep you too much longer, Kira. So, but the dinner itself, is there something that really stands out that makes it the dinner and dessert that you're like, wow, all year you cannot wait for this?
I mean, the pierogies. Like I can't say any, like everything's great, but that's definitely like the main part. That's to me the entree. And we often also have fish too. That's a Polish tradition to have fish there. I believe you're not supposed to have meat. I think it's supposed to be you're skipping that until Christmas, something like that. Okay. So yeah, no, I would say that. And then just, I think, there's the adult table and the kids table, but it's kind of funny because at this point, all of the cousins, so that kids table are all legal adults at this point. But I still love that that is the one time a year, all 8 of us sit down together and we're all eating one meal together because we have plenty of parties. Yeah, like kids again. And it's been the same table and everything. So I absolutely love that. And it's obviously we all see each other at parties, but we're always sitting at different tables, whatever. It's the one time a year where it's just us cousins. And so that's always been very special to me. And we have our own little kid tradition of always sharing really bad dad jokes or jokes where we have to figure out the answer, kind of like some kind of riddle. So that's, what our own twist on our own traditions to kind of get it in there.
But yeah, they're like legit Christmas cousins. They all get together.
Christmas cousins. When when cousin Chad invited me on the show, I was like, well, yeah, I could just talk about my cousins. Like that's I'm a good guest in that sense. I can bring lots of cousin stories.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, so the only thing is, Seth, we need immediately a cease and desist sent over to the Dineen household Christmas Eve. So you don't say the term Christmas cousins.
Right.
Yeah. You got that, Seth? You're on it.
You got to trade. Is your trademark pending so that you can send
it? It is. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Seasonal enjoyment with family that are very closely genetically linked is appropriate to use if you want.
Right.
Yep, that works. That works.
That rolls right off the tongue too. Yes.
Your dad's brother's kids. Yep.
Right works. There you go.
Yeah.
That works too. I hear it being typed up right now. Seth's legal
team is on it. It's so impersonal when you slap a label on it or call it this thing.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. If you break it down.
Be more scientific anyway, right? That's what I should be doing.
That's true.
Live up to the science brand.
Right. Yes. Or if someone does say Christmas cousin, just refer them to the show. They can,
Right. Oh, you mean this?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yes, that's all. I love that.
Search it on Spotify, Apple. It comes right up. Look for that green background.
Yes, Kira knows. She's a pro. This is great. Yeah. Do you do podcast promotion too, Kira? You're really great.
Oh, yeah.
Right. All right.
Yep. Anything in podcasting, I've pretty much done over the years. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. So you're having the pierogies because they do sound amazing. But is there a drink? Like, is there a wine or some kind of alcohol that is like everybody shares and has?
We often do have wine. Yes. I don't know if there's a particular certain wine, but yes, wine is usually what, especially the females in the family seem to drink more wine than the males. But yeah, I can't think of anything other specific. I think the only other thing that might be interesting is we haven't done it in a couple years now, but as a kid, we used to have a cake for dessert. And we used to put candles and light it and we would sing happy birthday to Jesus. And I thought that was a normal thing to do. And I would say to my friends, like, oh yeah, did you sing happy birthday to Jesus yesterday? And they were like, well, what are you talking about? I don't think we've done that recently, but I think that's kind of cute that maybe they were just doing when we were young kids.
Yeah. Is that a family tradition or a Polish tradition?
I think that's just a family thing. I don't think that's Polish. Yeah. Right. Although we sing it in English and then we sing it in Polish. So that's the one song I know in Polish.
Oh, really?
Stolat. Yes. And it literally translates to may you live 100 years because it was kind of, you wanted to manifest that for someone on their birthday. So,
until someone's 100 and they're sitting there going, oh no, this is not good.
Right. Yeah, we got to update it now to say, may you live 150 years because of how long humans are living. So yeah, you can tell it's an old song.
Right, exactly. Yeah, they're like, may you live to be 36.
Yes.
Exactly.
Ah, huzzah. May you live to see your grandchildren. Yes.
Right. May you live to see your own self become an adult. This is great.
May you live to see your hair turn white like Santa Claus. Yes.
That's right. Yeah, I think that is the saying, right? Is that? I don't know. So, okay, so we do that. Then there's the dessert. But is there anything, just to wrap it up, on Christmas Day, or is it all Christmas Eve?
Everything's Christmas Eve with my dad's side. And then the next day is my mom's side. So it's kind of worked out nicely that, for my mom's side, we're probably pretty typical Americans of, we open presents Christmas morning under the tree, and then we're going over to my other grandma's house, and it's very cute because in order to get to my mom's house, it's like that song. I literally have to go over the river and through the woods to get to her, and it's so poetic and beautiful. Yes, I go right over a bridge, over a very nice river that I kayak on when it's not winter, and then you go all through the woods, back roads, and then you get to grandma's about 25 minutes later.
Wow,
so yeah,
that's like a Robert Frost poem. I like that.
It is, or like a Hallmark movie. Those grandparents are obsessed with the Hallmark movies. So
are they really?
Really? Oh yeah. Yep. They can tell you the statistics. Well, about 80% into the movie, they'll have their almost first kiss, and then 90% of the movie they have the real first kiss. And they're like, here is the recipe for a Hallmark movie, especially for those Christmas ones. Yep.
And they know. Oh, that's so funny. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's cute.
That's probably where a lot of them are coming out. They're churning a lot of them out. Find out they're writing. Your grandparents are writing.
And Connecticut, I think they film like a good chunk of them, if not the most. There's even some Connecticut train ride or something where you can go and see a bunch of the spots where filming has happened throughout the state. I haven't been to it, but it's one of those things that pops up on social that you're like, oh, that's kind of interesting. You bookmark it and may or may not go.
I have actually saw that they are offering that. I didn't realize it was even Connecticut, but I know they do a lot of stuff in Connecticut, a lot in Canada, but a lot up there too. Yep. So that's cool. So you have a chance at a white Christmas too, then.
A chance. We'll see. It hasn't happened for a few years now, but yes, right. I'm hoping for that. Definitely.
Wow, exciting. Yeah. Wow, it sounds like a fantastic Christmas Eve, Christmas Day.
And Seth, you must usually have a white Christmas, in Chicago.
Last year we a little bit. It was like some flurries, but I mean it's fairly consistent. Maybe a couple days before
gray white Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. So if anything, we'll have some spillover. Or it's still on the side of the road where the plows are pushing up, and it's a little gross to look at, but
it's a little reminder. That beautiful white snow. Yes.
Something though. But before a couple of years ago, he didn't even notice. He'd be like, "Is it Christmas? I don't know. Whatever." So.
Well, that's why you had to start the show, right? So we come full circle there. Yep.
We really did. I know. Well, this is amazing, Kira. I think we answered a lot of scientific questions that the community at large hasn't yet. These have been questions brought up since Isaac Newton and still unresolved. So I'm glad we solved that for everybody. I don't know how we apply for our our Nobel Prize in genetics. Is there such a thing?
Science and medicine, I think, something like that. Yes.
Okay. We'll make sure they get the spelling right of cousins. It's not C-U-Z-Z. It's
right. Make sure that's correct, and get it in before the deadline so you're eligible for 2025. Definitely.
Right. There's no rush, though. It's timeless, our work, our genetics work.
That is true. You can submit for the following year. Yeah,
that's right. And they'll probably come up with some sort of hybrid award or something like that in media and genetics and many other things.
Yes. Maybe I'll start it for you guys. I will start the Media and Genetics Awards.
I like that.
Perfect.
Genetics and Christmas related or adjacent podcast award. That's a very rare one. I think we have not a lot of competition. So, but I love the discussion on that because I really was curious. I was like, there are so many people I know that love Christmas and some that just don't. And I really am curious. So if you do find anything out more about that, please let us know or keep it in mind.
I will. And I'm feeling for those people that are not loving, the holidays of whatever they celebrate. I mean, if you're listening to this, you probably celebrate Christmas. But live it up. Enjoy the holiday season,
Yes, exactly. And if it comes up and you hear something more, let us know. Maybe, there would be it's a great December show. So
it is.
I don't know. I like that. Well, I like that. And then we found out your family sounds fantastic. The traditions sound fantastic.
I really lucked out with family. Yeah, I'm very grateful. Yeah.
30 people. They all get along. They're all doing these events, maybe because of the wafers. So
maybe that's what's holding us together. Breaking the wafers is somehow uniting us. I don't know.
Yes, that's beautiful. See, that's poetic too.
I try, little Robert Frosty once in a while.
Exactly. And for our live audience, if everyone looks under their chairs, there's a box of wafers. So
yes, everybody.
Kind of good,
now you can do it at your own Christmas Eve. You can celebrate like the Dineens do.
Yes, celebrate like the Dineens do. Well, thank you very much, Kira. Where can people find you and hear more of you?
Sure. So usually I'm not talking about being Polish or Christmas, but if you found the genetics part interesting, I am always talking about genetics over at DNA Today. That's dnatoday.com. You can search in Spotify, Apple, and we're also a green logo, so you can remember that easily.
Yes.
And I run a few other shows, but that's my main one. So go check that out if you find genetics interesting. Yeah.
I find it fascinating. If you see a bump of around 30 million extra listeners this week, you know where it came from.
We can accredit that to Christmas Cousins. I love it.
Exactly, yes.
Yep.
So check out Kira, DNA Today, and other podcasts too. Fascinating. We really appreciate you sharing your stories, your family, and that. And you could find us at the Christmas Cousins, at Christmas Cousins Pod or ChristmasCousinsPod@gmail.com. Everybody just writes and says how much they love Cousin Seth. We have enough of those letters. Give us something, some other feedback.
Give Cousin Chad a little bit of love. I think he's still a little inadequate. So,
you know what? When your cousin's that big of a superstar, it's like being on a team with Michael Jordan. You accept it, you enjoy the ride, Kira. Yep. But I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yep, you're on the team. You can't complain about what number you are. Yep.
Exactly. That's it. And Cousin Seth's Air Seth, as they call him. So, and he's from Chicago. It's all working out beautifully. But everybody, please check out DNA Today. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Kira. Enjoy the holidays. Say hi to Grandma Barb on our behalf as well.
Yes,
oh, I will. I will.
Awesome. And everybody, I'm Cousin Chad.
And I'm Cousin Seth.
He is.
And I'm Cousin Kira. Bye, everybody.
Cousin Kira.